Bismillah, salatu salamu ala Rasulillah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Today I was playing around with artificial intelligence or delegated intelligence. Basically, human transfer their intelligence to machine. That is the delegation of human intelligence to machine or computer. That's the delegated intelligence. There is nothing artificial about it. Anyway, I was playing with our delegated intelligence to generate images for this presentation, which is about singularity. Singularity comes from single. Something is single, and from that singularity. So, in this specific video, I'm talking about singularity of human way of life. I'm going to logically prove that even though we see a lot of ways of life in other ways, religions, but I will scientifically prove logically that there was only singularity. At the beginning, the Creator created Adam and Eve, our ancient parents, peace be upon them. So there was no other person, or there were no other persons, only they were two, Adam and Eve. So they had common way of life because there were no other persons. The only way the planet inherited is their way given by the Creator. That is the singularity. That singularity actually existed even before the creation of Adam and Eve, because the Creator who creates anything, he creates to he creates any creation that with the willingness, with the will that the creation will follow his given regulation laws, or today if it is physical bodies, all astronomical bodies, cosmic bodies, laws of physics, chemistry, whatever we name, we can call it. But at the end of the day, it is the will of the Creator that he puts into his creation, whether it is animal or material beings, celestial bodies, whatever. So the moment Creator created anything, he created to obey him, and all the creations are obeying him except the jinn kind and the mankind. The Creator has given some free will so that they will obey in their own willingness, and that makes their obedience superior to other creation, those who are made to only follow the will of the Creator. So Adam and Eve, created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our Creator, He gave them the will. This is the way you will live. So, and that is their way. So that was only one singularity. Now what happened after that? On this planet, as the Adam and Eve were living, they had their micro family, they had their kids, childrens, but they were still living in a small space, means in a not around the world, because there were only few people, only their family, not around the world. They were located in a specific place. So because of that, even though they had children, they still had that singularity. The children were basically following the parents, Adam and Eve. Even though different children had different personalities, but that did not make any difference to their way of life. They had singularity. So we all are from them. So we all have that singularity inculcate or built in our DNA or genes. As went by, the population increased, family number of family increased. They had to extend their places of living, and also sometimes like dispute also increased. So to make it peaceful, they had to use more part of the world, and gradually when thousands of years went by, so eventually they spread in wider part of the world, distant places around the world. But they, over thousands of years, they spread, but slowly, but the technology of communication and transportation did not increase. So eventually, many of them get isolated, disconnected from the singularity. But the singularity was there, at least in one part of the planet or of the world. Singularity was there. We hear about that Stone Age, Bronze Age, Iron Age, and people living in, jungles or caves. These are the people who got detached from singularity, but singularity was always there. A prophetic civilization was always there on the planet to hold the a way of life given by the Creator to mankind. That's why archaeologists keeps on finding older and older evidence of civilizations. So the singularity was always there, at least in one or two or some of the places of the world, even though the human beings as a whole got disintegrated, disconnected. So every space in the planet they were living, like in cold areas, in summer heat area, tropical area, in desert or whatever. They, these places had their own challenges and problems to deal with, and natures and diversity of natures, the foods available. So according to the human perceptions, humans singularity also changed. They had they had different but kinds of perception visions, not common around the world. Even though some in singularity they were still carrying, but those singularities got distorted. Only reminiscence where they were carrying. So That's why they develop many kinds of way of life and religions in the absence of guidance or misguide or advent of misguidance. But origin is singularity. Over time, when they got disintegrated, isolated from one another around the world, living separately, so and the technological development was not there, transportation especially and communication technology to knit them together as a world society, it was not there. So the diversity and differences came up and many forms of religions came up. These disconnected communities, sometimes even they didn't know that in another part of the world some civilizations or some people are living there, and sometimes they were competing, uh, they were they they perceived each other as enemies and uh, competing for resources. It also happened. There were, there was no, there were not always peace in the human society. So society got disintegrated. The, here I have shown all these pictures are AI generated, TI generated, delegated intelligence. Uh, they didn't have this kind of sophisticated uh, technology, communication technology now people carry along with them. They didn't have this kind of electricities even, and they didn't have books and records also. So they didn't have, so that they could transfer the singularity, their singularity, the singularity they received from ancient time to their future generations. Today, what we see today, communication has developed, transportation method has developed. So so it is like that. Adam and Eve, from them in second generation, more nuclear family developed, then in third and later on generations, more and more developed. So these solid lines, the singular through which the singularity was passed over to the second generation from their parents Adam and Eve, they got dotted gradually. It's not exactly like first, second, and third. It's in the way, in the way these solid lines became dotted. So now today, even though there are many nuclear family exist in the world, around the world, but with the development of technology, especially communication technology and transportation method, they all families are like the same nuclear family as a whole, like Adam, their ancient parent, Adam and Eve used to have. So that's why these all, people around the world they can see different cultures and they can compare with them. They can find themselves the inconsistencies they develop in their culture and the truth other people or they are following compared to others. Sometimes it is very difficult because people cannot easily change. The change also takes time. So, but in a nutshell, they still have this nuclear structure worldwide where They are constantly interacting with each other. And there are global goals. They are working together in cooperation with each other. So the singularity is gradually coming back, and that is the need of the time to live on this planet peacefully. So technological development in communication technology and method of transportations, knitting the communities back together. So singularity is again coming back as if they are living within the same Adam and Eve nuclear family, and the, the singularity is back or is coming back. So hopefully you find this logic uh, uh, convin- uh, strong and convincing. So hopefully it benefits you. So we so for the mankind there is only one way of life, and there is a perfect way of life. We each individual have to find where we get this singularity, a knowledge of the singularity, and where how we can coordinate worldwide within this singularity to have a peaceful life where each people, every people supporting each other and not working against each other, and or holding knife at their back secretly. That's all for this time. Thank you very much for listening.